in.
Well, as long as nobody got hurt, I guess.
Pretty good turnabout, I guess.
Thanks for joining us. More news at 6:30. We'll see you then.
Good night. Israel pounds suspected guerrilla strongholds in Lebanon, while Hezbollah shows off suicide bombers and vows revenge. A show of defiance by frustrated neighbors of those anti-government activists in Montana. And a computer glitch that will cost millions to prevent, but could cost billions if ignored.
From NBC News, this is NBC Nightly News, reported by Jack Ford.
Good evening. For a fourth straight day, Israeli warplanes and artillery bombarded Hezbollah guerrilla strongholds in Beirut and southern Lebanon. Israel is trying to force the Lebanese government to crack down on Muslim extremists living there who are attacking Israel. But Hezbollah is already planning its response, promising to send suicide bombers into action. We get the latest tonight from NBC's Martin Fletcher on Israel's northern border with Lebanon.
Israel poured artillery shells into Lebanon at the rate of 1 a minute today, while the Air Force flew more than 250 missions. They pounded Hezbollah targets with what the Israelis proudly called pinpoint accuracy. The Air Force released these gun camera pictures of the attacks. A Hezbollah command center. A tank that fired at Israeli warplanes. Another Hezbollah gun position. Even a car parked on the road noticed the civilian cars driving by. Since Thursday, at least 20 Lebanese have reportedly been killed and about 50 wounded. Israel says they wouldn't have been hurt if they'd heeded Israeli warnings to leave South Lebanon.
Hezbollah is finding and deploying itself, particularly in the past few days, in the midst of these people, using them in a very cynical way as a protective shield.
Today, Israel turned its 9-mile-wide buffer zone in South Lebanon into a 20-mile-wide no-go area by ordering everybody living south of the Litani River to run away. Hundreds of thousands of Lebanese are now refugees, a new refugee crisis that the Lebanese government accuses Israel of deliberately creating. Hezbollah said it will take terrible revenge, and today released these pictures of volunteer suicide bombers. Explosives are strapped to their bodies. Hezbollah says it has hundreds of such volunteers lining up to die in attacks against Israel and America. Today, Hezbollah sent at least 11 waves of Katyusha rockets smashing into Israel, wounding one person. One Katyusha hit a school that had already been evacuated. Another hit a bomb shelter and did no damage. Most residents of the northern Israeli town of Kiryat Shmona are now virtually living in their bomb shelters. To remove the threat of more Katyusha rockets, the Israeli army now says its operation in Lebanon may take another 2 weeks. Martin Fletcher, NBC News, Kiryat Shmona on the Israel-Lebanon border.
Meanwhile, that cycle of violence in the Middle East is being closely watched at the White House. NBC's John Palmer is there tonight. John, good evening.
Good evening, Jack. The White House continues to place the blame for this latest round of fighting squarely on the shoulders of Hezbollah, saying that their provocative actions triggered the Israeli military response.
President Clinton turned away questions about the fighting today, but a White House official said the U.S. position remains the same. Hezbollah must stop its rocket attacks before the United States offers any new diplomatic initiatives to help restore peace. In Damascus and in other Arab capitals, there were more calls today for the United States to become actively involved in ending the violence. Syrian newspapers and the state-run radio said the United States is in danger of losing its role as mediator in the Middle East because of its support for Israeli strikes against Lebanon. But most people familiar with the peace effort don't think that will happen.
All the parties want us as part of the bottom line. You're not going to make progress towards peace in the Middle East unless the United States pushes, shoves, nudges the parties forward.
Lebanese Prime Minister Harari, who met with Syrian President Assad this weekend, is under pressure to crack down on Hezbollah. But most diplomats believe Lebanon is powerless to do that.
Lebanon is just coming out of a savagely protracted and bitter and bloody civil war. I think it is illogical and unreasonable to expect them to be able to control the actions of Hezbollah.
President Clinton leaves tonight for a week-long overseas trip. Nevertheless, the White House says that the president will be closely monitoring the situation in the Middle East, ready to launch a new initiative when the time is right. Jack?
John, thank you. On that trip, the president will visit 3 countries over the next 8 days. In South Korea, the first stop, the president will address renewed tensions with communists in the north. The Tokyo stop makes up for the visit he had to cancel last November because of the federal budget crisis. Then it's on to St. Petersburg, Russia, for a day of sightseeing. And in Moscow, he'll meet with Boris Yeltsin on improving nuclear security. Well, the visit to Japan comes at an especially tense time. NBC's Lucky Severson is in Tokyo tonight.
Japan takes presidential visits very seriously, this one in particular. Tokyo is crawling with 22,000 extra police. Not a manhole cover left unchecked, or a bush unprodded, or unsniffed, or a potential hiding place unscoured. The city now has checkpoints. The police are on special alert, preparing for anti-U.S. military demonstrations. Usually state visits here focus on trade issues, but this time it's different. Trade disputes, and there are several, will take a back seat to security issues, particularly the growing resentment against U.S. military bases in Japan.
Our ability to be in this region depends on these bases a lot. There's no question about it. You know, the distances are so great in the Pacific that if you put them, say, in San Diego, it's awful hard to get them over here when you need them.
The anti-military mood has been increasing steadily since 2 Marines and a sailor were charged with raping a 12-year-old girl in Okinawa last September and then convicted. That didn't end the anger. Most of the bases and troops are located in Okinawa, a tiny island, and the Okinawans want their land back. Sympathetic demonstrations have spread throughout Japan. Now, to make matters worse, the lease on some property inside this U.S. communications dome in Okinawa has expired, and the landowner wants it returned. The Japanese government fenced off the dome, surrounded it with riot troops, and is occupying it technically illegally. For months, these protests have been aimed at bases in Okinawa, but this past week, the Yokota Air Base in central Japan was a target of a $30 million anti-noise lawsuit filed against the U.S. government. The first of its kind, and authorities hope it's not the beginning of a trend.
More than anything, President Clinton's visit here is meant to show the Japanese that the U.S. is concerned about their complaints and committed to their defense. Lucky Severson, NBC News, Tokyo.
When NBC Nightly News continues in a moment, an accidental death at the site of the Freemen standoff in Montana. And later, one of America's biggest personalities is starting over in Europe.
Oh, wow.
As you know, Easy Spirit makes only one kind of shoe, the comfortable kind.
Walk on, walk on. Ooh, walk on. Oh, yeah, yeah. Walk on, walk on.
Easy Spirit. Inside's our walking shoe. Outside, the whole world.
There are those among us with very simple tastes. They only want the best. And for them, there's Fancy Feast Gourmet Cat Food. Exceptionally moist and delicious. Fancy Feast. Good taste is easy to recognize.
So this customer says to me, "You running a health food place?" I say, "Health food? What do you mean? Wasn't the burger big enough? Weren't the fries greasy enough? Wasn't the chili hot enough? Didn't you beg me for Tums?" So he says, "Exactly. Tums. Health food."
Tums not only knocks out heartburn, Tums is like health food for your bones. It gives you calcium you need every single day. Calcium you can't get from Mylanta Liquid or Pepsid AC.
Then he says, "Every meal in this place ends with Tums." So I say, "Well, I do what I can."
Federal agents spent their 21st day waiting out those heavily armed anti-government militants in eastern Montana. There's been no violence, but there were reminders today of the danger. NBC's Jim Avila is there tonight.
It is a simple act of defiance by a frustrated rancher. 2 Montana cowboys, father and son, herding 36 cows onto disputed land. A state-owned parcel Tom Stanton's family has leased for 82 years. But this year is different. His Freeman neighbors told Stanton if he steps on that land, they'll arrest him. try him and hang him for trespassing.
No way they're going to keep me off. It isn't their land. It belongs to the state. So I was going to go ahead and use it.
The growing season in northern Montana is short. There's only enough time and good weather for one wheat crop, and only a limited amount of time for cattle to graze in the pasture. It's the Freeman land grab that has made this not just a dispute with the government, but a dispute among neighbors.
Those people, all they had to do was come out of their compound and cross my fence, and they've got me.
So today's cattle drive, with the FBI watching from heavily armed trucks, was a message to both the Freeman and the government. Patience grows thin when it's time to plant and graze.
We thought the cavalry was coming, and it was a bunch of babysitters.
But there's no indication the FBI is willing to abandon negotiations. Today, a sign posted by the Freemen again asked for a common law grand jury to hear their grievances. The hand-picked mediator says he has proposed an alternative.
Basically, it's a way that they could be heard within the framework of our existing judicial system.
But since that proposal, 5 days ago, there has been only silence from the Freemen. And tonight, an accidental reminder that lives are at stake. The FBI's first casualty of the standoff, a 34-year-old SWAT team agent, father of two, killed when his truck flipped en route to the command post. Jim Avila, NBC News, Jordan, Montana.
Meanwhile, across the state, another FBI team is working on the Unabomber case. NBC's Pete Williams is at FBI headquarters tonight with the latest. Pete, good evening.
Good evening, Jack. It's here at the FBI's crime lab in Washington that the pieces of the puzzle will come together in the government's case against Theodore Kaczynski. With the week-and-a-half search of Kaczynski's property all but done, the FBI has lifted an airspace restriction over his home, one imposed the day he was arrested. Investigators have crawled on their hands and knees through his tiny cabin looking for every scrap of evidence. And they've explored the 1.5 acres of Kaczynski's land, seeing if anything was buried. Now it's up to the FBI's crime laboratory to examine the truckloads of evidence from Montana. Of special interest, do pieces of wire and chemical residues found at past Unabomber attacks match the wire and chemicals found in Kaczynski's cabin? And does material written on typewriters at the cabin match pieces of address labels from past bombings? When a federal grand jury meets in Great Falls, Montana this Wednesday, it will consider only the single charge filed against Kaczynski so far of making one bomb found in his cabin. Charges formally accusing him of being the Unabomber will likely come elsewhere. A former federal prosecutor says that decision won't depend just on the evidence.
There are going to be other concerns, such as where they have the greatest likelihood of success, where they can get to the grand jury, put the case together the most quickly.
And federal officials tell NBC News they don't plan to file any new charges before the grand jury meets that could connect Theodore Kaczynski to the Unabomber's 17 years of terror. Jack?
So, Pete, what's happening right now with the FBI investigation?
Well, now that they've pretty much completed their search, they're now fanning out across the country, trying to meet with Theodore Kaczynski's associates who could shed light on his 53 years of life. Jack?
All right, Pete, thank you. Now to Congress in the attempt to pass a tough new anti-terrorism bill. Here's NBC's Joe Johns.
With the anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing just days away, congressional Republicans are struggling to finish the anti-terrorism legislation that the president demanded a year ago. Senate Majority Leader and Republican presidential candidate Bob Dole is fighting factions in his own party.
We need to get it done. We'd like to pass it before the 19th of April, and we hope we can. We think it's a good thing to do.
But Republicans are having trouble agreeing on the right approach. Conservatives in the House, concerned about civil liberties, passed an anti-terrorist bill stripping key provisions that would forbid fundraising by terrorist organizations in the U.S., enhance government surveillance of suspected terrorists, and expand deportation of suspected terrorists. Democrats say the changes are unacceptable.
What we're seeing is the Republicans bowing to the right wing is what we're seeing.
Now, Senate Republicans are offering a compromise to put some of the teeth back in the bill.
I have a feeling it's going to pass and pass overwhelmingly.
The White House, which has long pushed for legislation far stronger than anything approved so far, has not said how little it might settle for.
The president will need to look at the whole bill, see just what's in it, and make an appropriate determination.
The current compromise does not expand federal wiretapping authority, which is a White House priority. With Senator Dole hoping for a vote by Friday, Democrats may have to choose between a bill they don't like and no bill at all. Joe Johns, NBC News, the Capitol.
And when NBC Nightly News continues, the computer catastrophe just waiting to happen.
We know you're out there! Come and get me!
Why, he could be anywhere, Sheriff. Flush him out. Kellogg's Honey Roasted Pecan Temptations with crunchy flakes, golden honey, and roasted pecans.
I'm coming down!
Kellogg's Temptation Cereal. The trouble is, it's just too tempting.
This new deck cost me a bundle.
You'd better protect it. Thompson's Water Seal Wood Protector is on guard against water damage, mildew, rot, and fading. That's why it's #1 for wood. Thompson's is protection.
For 15 years, we've taken good care of each other.
We sure have.
And to take better care of our health, we've started drinking Ensure.
Ensure is recommended #1 by doctors as a source of complete, balanced nutrition.
More than a vitamin supplement, Ensure has all the nutrients adults need to help stay healthy, active, be energetic.
Drink Ensure as a meal.
Or in between meals. Ensure. To your health, honey.
To our health.
Ensure, recommended #1 by doctors.
Nobody does it like you.
For high-traffic areas, now there's the deep cleaning power of the new Hoover Steam Vac Deluxe with 5 brush agitators.
Nobody does it like you. It's open.
What are you doing here? I'm going out.
I can see that. Do we have time for coffee?
What?
It's Taster's Choice.
Taster's Choice, rich aroma, fresh taste, right in your cup.
Sunday, a Dateline investigation. Dangerous harvest in the night, caught on hidden camera. What these people are doing could be hazardous to your health. A must-see Dateline tonight.
In focus this evening, the glitch that could short-circuit cyberspace. Computer programming decisions made decades ago are about to backfire. NBC's Robert Hager reports.
It seems like such an insignificant little problem. The fact that most computers, instead of using 4 digits to denote a year, use only 2. And it wouldn't be a problem, except that come the year 2000, most computers will call that 00. Bad, according to computer consultants like Kevin Schick.
This problem will be one of the largest problems ever to face the business community.
Seems that many computers will assume 00 means the year 1900, back to the future. Other computers may misunderstand the numbers and shut down or spew out endless babbling garble. Even home computers will be affected. Some will think it's 1980, others will think it's 1938. Nobody understands exactly why. For casual users, an inconvenience. But for the business world, major problems. And the solution involves big bucks.
Gardner Group estimates the cost of solution to be $600 billion for global solution.
600 billion worldwide. That's because in most cases, the only solution is to tediously go through every line of data in every computer program and change all the 2-digit dates to 4-digit dates. So when the year 00 arrives, it'll really become the year 2000. But left unfixed, just imagine what computer experts say could happen. Let's imagine you begin a phone call 2 minutes before midnight on the last day of the year 1999. You end that call 4 minutes later, just into the new year 2000. But the phone company's computer reads those 2 years as 1999 and the year 1900 and bills you for a 99-year call. Or more to your liking, the bank's computer might decide your savings account had been open for 99 years and credit you millions in interest payments. In fact, there are already problems with some forward-looking computer programs dealing with insurance policies and with loans. How did we get in this predicament? Blame early programmers back in the 1960s and 70s to save space and money. They're the ones who first entered years as just 2 digits instead of 4, never expecting those early programs would still be around by the turn of the century. But they are. And now an estimated 90% of all businesses will have to pay the price. David Reingold of the consulting firm Computer Horizons.
I would say that the average fix is in the multiple millions of dollars, someplace between 10 million to as much as $200 million.
The U.S. government has so many computers, congressional researchers say it may face a $30 billion headache. A task force is laying plans now. And at Chubb & Son Insurance, they've already started repairing 1.6 million dates in the company's computers. A 2.5-year, $25 million job.
This is money that we have to spend. This is money that, without spending it, could cause major catastrophe not only for our customers, but in fact for us.
A lot of firms just can't believe all this. Only 1 of every 5 has even begun to deal with it. But for those who wait too long, instead of being a time for a big celebration, the millennium could become a big zero. In fact, 2 zeros, getting the brand new century off to a nothing start. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
When NBC Nightly News continues, one of Africa's most beautiful birds in danger of extinction.
The first thing everyone notices about my mom is her smile. My dad calls it her secret weapon. So I understood why she was worried about keeping her gums healthy. And I told her exactly what my dentist told me. Switch to Crest plus Gum Care. No other toothpaste is proven to help protect against gingivitis. It'll help keep her gums healthier. I know it works, because the less my mom worries, the more she smiles. And I like that. It's your smile. Shouldn't you protect it with Crest?
We all work so hard today. That's why I treat myself to Irish cream, amaretto, and Swiss chocolate coffee mate. So many treats, so little time. Flavored coffee mate. Your coffee never had it so good.
I see a lot of people that put up with scratch lenses. LensCrafters DuraLens can help make that problem go away. No other plastic lens is more scratch resistant. DuraLenses help me help people see better. I feel really good about that.
DuraLens, only at LensCrafters.
For years, in your passion for performance sedans, you look to Europe. Now there's Pontiac Bonneville SSEI. With 240 supercharged horsepower, it outperforms some of the world's fastest performance sedans. For proof, call 1-800-443-4444 for your free Bonneville information package and official test results. Find out how the new Pontiac Bonneville makes your passion painless, but no less intense. 1-800-443-4444.
This week on Today, if your kid breaks the law, should you go to jail? Also, is it time to move your retirement fund? Plus, a live concert from Lionel Richie outside our studios, only on Today.
Powerful pictures.
The hillside also slid.
Unforgettable images. It's a difference you can see.
Wide open cut, turning upfield. This is what it's all about.
Award-winning photography and exclusive pictures from Sky 8. See why Northwest News Channel 8 is the new news leader. Sky 8, only on Northwest News Channel 8.
From Kenya in East Africa tonight, the story of the pink flamingos and their struggle to survive. NBC's Keith Miller has this report.
They are one of nature's greatest spectacles. The pink flamingos of Kenya's Lake Nakuru, once stretched across the water in a vast blanket of color. At this time of year, there should be more than 1 million flamingos feeding in the lake, but not anymore. Today, their numbers have been reduced to the thousands. The lake is vanishing, and the flamingo population along with it. The normal lifespan of the flamingo is 50 years. Denied water, many are dying before they are 3.
I think you should take it as a warning and begin to look seriously at how we manage our land and how we manage the water resources in this catchment.
The effect of years of drought has been made worse by neglect from man. The nearby town of Nakuru has grown tenfold in the last 10 years, and water that supplied the lake has been diverted to domestic taps. And farms have expanded into once undeveloped land, siphoning off water from rivers and streams. The lake is now just a quarter of its former size and shrinking each year. Ecologists say at this rate, the pink flamingo is likely to become extinct. What may save them is the tourists who come here to admire them. A whole industry has been built up around Kenya's wildlife. But if the flamingos go, so too will the tourists, and the money they spend which helps to maintain other animals in the wild.
This is one of the great wildlife spectacles of the world, and about 200,000 tourists come here every year to enjoy it, and the money they bring helps finance other species.
So far, the Kenyan government has done little to protect the water level of the lake. But with the threat to the flamingos now extending to the tourist industry, the government may be forced into action to save one of its main attractions. Keith Miller, NBC News.
When NBC Nightly News continues in just a moment, some big football news from England. The fridge is making a comeback.
Weeding again, eh, Bob?
Huh?
Why not do it once, do it right?
Why's your head in the ground?
I'm going to watch Roundup kill these roots.
Hey, this is Spike's area.
Bob, Roundup can be used where kids and pets will play and breaks down into natural materials. Since Roundup kills the root, what's not coming back, Bob?
The weed?
You betcha, Bob. Come on down and take a peek.
Can I square one?
Sure, Bob.
A baby needs Mommy every second, no matter how Mommy feels. So for a bad case of heartburn, I needed fast relief. I thought about those new heartburn pills. Then I remembered, in the hospital, they gave me Maalox.
This demonstration shows that acid blockers don't neutralize the acid already in your stomach. Maalox starts to neutralize that acid in minutes, and it's the #1 choice of hospitals.
That's just what I needed. No, we needed.
Maalox, the first choice for hospitals, the fast choice for you.
You're going to have to open that bag, ma'am.
Well, if you insist. Plump, delicious, Sunsweet bite-sized bitted prunes. Sunsweet, always a sweet idea.
From an extraordinary place, an extraordinary coffee. With a gourmet taste, not a gourmet price. Yuban. 100% Colombian coffee. The richest coffee in the world. The price tamed. The spirit intact. Yuban.
Genetic testing. It can warn you about life-threatening diseases. But what happens when your insurance company or employer get the results too? The answer will shock you. NBC Nightly News, Monday.
Tonight, an intergalactic event. Travel to the far reaches of the galaxy.
I shall blow you out of the stars.
Fire. For the final voyage of the Starship Enterprise.
We surrender.
Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, NBC tonight.
During his years in the NFL, William Perry became a household name, in part because of his household appliance nickname. Now, after taking a season off, the refrigerator is back in the game. Sort of. Here's NBC's Ron Allen.
He's back and bigger than ever. The fridge may have been washed up in the NFL, but in Europe, where this game is called American football, even the fridge can still be a star.
This is a fridge. So why is this man known as the fridge? Because they both weigh a ton. And have you tried running into the fridge lately?
William the Refrigerator Perry is still making a living out of a name.
Pay vacation, and then you pick up a few dollars on the way, and then you get to see the Scotland and Barcelona and stuff. You know, just be traveling with my wife and kids, just having fun.
He gets $13,000 to play and another $100,000 to promote the league. His only other option, to keep fishing in South Carolina.
Nobody expects the fridge to make the all-star team on the field. He's here because the league hopes the hype and publicity will help it to survive. So far, the fridge is on a record pace for public appearances.
The media blitz has little to do with football.
Oh, look at this, ladies.